All right. Good morning, my dogs. It is 6:31. It is February 18th. Hopefully everyone's feeling well, recharged. We had one of those long weekends with President's Weekend when the market was closed. It's funny how nobody knows how to relax. People are like, what do I do? What do I do? What do you mean, what do you do? Spend some time with your family, your friends, get some fitness in and catch up on some things around the house and use your time to your advantage. Anyway, it is a shortened week. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com and the founder of Red Dog Mindset. Hope everyone's feeling well, getting ready to approach the week. Last week was an interesting one, right? We didn't fall apart with a hot CPI, a hot PPI, and all of a sudden seems as if we might be breaking above this range we've been in for multiple weeks. If you take a look here at the chart of the SPYs, you had a bit of a doji after a 3-day move back to the high end of the range, but all in all, this upper wedge, very intact. We're above the 8-day. When you're above the 8-day, what are you doing? You're in risk. When you're above the 21-day, you're trying to hold some positions, even though, to be honest, a lot of divergences and some things that were great 6 months ago aren't great now. Some things that were great 3 months ago aren't great now. That's what happens. Things change. As traders, you have to find out what's in play, what is igniting a new active sequence, and then how do you go about staying with it and making money and having your mind right to execute. For those of you who subscribe to the button above, Red Dog Mindset, to get involved in the 20 to 520, which is a morning workout. I'm feeling good. Was in the sauna this morning with my weights, 20 minutes, thinking about all the different positions that I have and how to approach the day. Futures up 20 handles. That means the SPYs right now are up 2. If you go here and look, SPYs are up 2. We're above this 611.89, which is above the range. There you go. Are you long? Are you short? Are you been massaging positions? Have you been in old positions? Are you moving your feet? What are you doing? So that's you have to ask yourself that question. We're going into the February now, and some people have had a great start to 2025. Some, there's been some things that have been a little tricky, but ultimately there's been a lot of really good action. If you want to take a look, the two obviously best names in Mag 7 land are Meta, which is above the 8-day, which right here went above this 631 prior to earnings, which gave you a good pre-earnings move, and it continues. It's off a little bit this morning. $1.77, not so big, not a big deal. Then you have Netflix was the other one. Netflix also making its way higher. This has been a power play for T3's Power Plays, which has been fantastic. It's a product that I manage, here where we were involved in this like 991, sold over half, and this has been, since the pro earnings gap. Remember that? You could have been long a lot of different ways. So anyway, that was that. As far as like the other names, like what to do there now, you have Amazon, you have Google, and you have, what's the third? Amazon and Google and Microsoft, right? They all didn't respond well to numbers. The question is, have they put a low in to trade against? I don't know. Just real quickly, just people are asking me about it. Like, how can Microsoft be out of playing the stock market at all-time highs? I'm like, I hear you. I'm like, so if you're in Microsoft, you have a point of reference, right? You have 404. If you want to be in Microsoft, be long versus 404. Hey, maybe it pushes up towards that gap and there's a trade there. It's not a hyper focus. I'm just showing you Microsoft. Google's the same thing. Google, has 181.31. Okay, the earnings report was lackluster and got put in the penalty box, and it's below all the moving averages. So it shouldn't be a focus. If you're long versus a level, that's one thing. If you have a lot of money to put to work, okay. 181.83 is that pivot. And then lastly, Amazon, very similar. Not doing anything. I don't even think I traded either one of these three last week. And now you have 227.52. So if you're thinking that, these names wake up, which is just a thought and it might not happen, those are your point of references for the week. So those three, okay? Tesla's been broken. It's just been a trade. What did we focus on last year? Last week, DoorDash. Guys, I've been talking about DoorDash with you pretty much since here. In the 630 Club, the Alpha team, you name it, we've been there. So bottom line is, how did you handle it? Did you make good money? Did you have options? Look at this move, okay? How did I do it? I tried to walk you through this last week, okay? Hopefully some of you made some really good money. I've been talking about this since right here. And then I got back long right there for this year. And January 16th, when DoorDash proved it can continue to go higher. So what happened post earnings? Okay. If you remember, it came out with numbers. It was trading at 207 post numbers. And then you had the hot CPI. So what happened was it came in first. So it gave us 195.20. 195.20 was right there, right? That was your post earnings low. I didn't take the stock into numbers. I had a call spread on. So what I did is I bought the stock after earnings versus 195.20. And then the day after, it almost got there, and it didn't. So you were able to hold it, didn't get stopped out. And then when it took out the post earnings high of 201.16, then the sky's the limit. And look at that 3-day move. That was a money trade, my friends. Did you catch that money trade? If you've been watching the 630 Club, I've been talking about this and in it on the Alpha team literally for I don't even know how long. Anyway, it's a little extended. I would be reducing. I've shown you guys the weekly chart here, with this cup and handle pattern and saying it's going to get to like this low here is what? This is 214. This high here is 218. That it should get to at least this area. So hopefully you guys made some money there. I don't know how you could. Not everyone's talking about DoorDash. I've been talking about DoorDash here for 6 months with the 630 Club, and hopefully it provided some value for you. And that's why maybe, if not, you're subscribing to the 20 at 520 to start getting your mind right so you could do things different and act with confidence. Okay, it's not just about the X's and O's. It's about getting your morning ready and say, hey, I never traded DoorDash before. Okay, well, get used to it, get comfortable. New names happen. So remember, I started talking to you guys a little bit about Grab, okay, midweek. I was like, you know what? Grab is, some came out in 2021 also. Some guys are saying how this is the DoorDash of overseas. I looked at the chart and I'm like, you know what? If DoorDash just went from 120 to 200 and change, if people are talking about that, it's got a nice chart. It's looking pretty good. Let's start accumulating it. So I started accumulating. I spoke about this with you guys also last week here. The Alpha team, which watches my trades live, know I'm long a decent amount of it. And now, all of a sudden, a filing came out that one of the big dogs are in it. And Grab is, up 13% at 550. So we'll see if this takes out a 560. This alone, last week, if you were watching the 630 Club, you should have been accumulating versus 470. Hopefully you did it. Let me see if some of my dogs are doing. Hayden saying good morning. Good morning, Scott. Richard Judge. We got Jose Battaglia in the house. Good morning, my dog. What's up, Steve? So if you're on YouTube or on Twitter, you could talk and we could interact a little. Mario, today's my birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Mario. You want to meet for a drink in New York City? No, I can't. It's a Tuesday. I'm fasting today. I didn't fast yesterday because I had lunch with my son who was home from school. So I put my fast off from Monday to Tuesday, but I will still do my 7th fast, which is what I've said to myself. So I'm keeping a promise to myself. Tony Wallace, positive people have positive days. That's cool. Blair. Actually, I think Blair was one of the ones who gave the idea of Grab. Thank you. Bullish market, rising and grinding. Good morning, Scott. Okay. Good morning, Danny. Everyone's rising and grinding. That's what you do. You have gratitude for the rise and then have gratitude for the grind. That means you're alive. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. 567. Does it get above and stay above it or not? Then listen, you've had some trades. Apple was one of my best trades last week. Why? If you remember, I was sitting here with you guys at the 630 Club when, it started to, when I'm like, hey, if Apple can get above this 233 to 234, the news came out that they were going to do something with BABA, that they're getting, sentiment in China was lifting, and PS, you had a big move. Now what? Now it's coming into 247. Probably not a big move. Apple this week will not be a money week. Last week was your money week. Now you have to figure out what's your money week this week. What's going to, give you that money move? Well, at this point, Apple was great. So I'm going to try and stay within accumulated and trade it a little bit better. Also, you know what else was a money move? What's it called? Nvidia. Nvidia has been broken. Nvidia hasn't led. If you guys remember, I right here when Nvidia reclaimed 116, I'm like, all right, going after Nvidia. And then there was a day when the futures are down 25 handles and it was up 60 cents. I'm like, wow, that's relative strength in Nvidia. Let's just go with it. And that was somewhere around here. And then you had your first move to the DeepSeek gap. pulled back right into the moving averages. Did it break? Did it fall apart? No, it held 129 and then boom. And now it's on its way to fill the rest of this gap. And, it's had a nice active sequence. Now it's just about managing it. There's no money move there. Baidu down on earnings this morning. Yes, Baidu came out with earnings this morning. That wasn't rock star. It was kind of the revenues were up, the earnings were down. But Baidu is a future story. So I'm in options. I had a really good move. I've rolled them up. So I have a little less risk on them still there. It would be nice if Baidu could go from red to green, but we'll see. It's only down $1.68. I could see this thing going green. I might buy the stock. I'm not sure. Obviously, Baba is better. Baba is up 4. Both of these and PDD were money moves last week. I had all of them. PDD I got rid of on Friday, right around here. We had a great option play for power plays. Hopefully you had power plays and you made that. We told you what to do there. Bob has been a money play since 95. I did get rid of mine on Friday, okay, which is fine. And I stayed with Baidu, which is down a little bit because, but I got rid of my stock. It had earnings, and I still think it's going to absorb this and in a day or two just continue. To me, Baidu is going to hit 116-ish or 104-ish at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but, we'll see. This is more of a how they're setting up themselves for the future. Same thing when Tesla had a blah report and then went up for multiple days after. That could happen here. As far as Bob is concerned, what a great move. If you guys were here with me, obviously the alpha team sees what I do every single second. That's why people spend the day with me. But right on this day is when I started buying Baba. People were talking about this entire time all the way down. And then right around here, when it took back the moving averages, that's when I got interested. I started buying the options here and rolled them all the way up. Okay, where did it hit? It hit a high of 126.80 on last week. Numbers are coming out this week. I think the numbers are going to be really good. It's just a matter of what's priced in. Our numbers are the 20th, which is in 2 days. To be honest, if you're not in Baba, I know everyone's starting to talk about Baba. Obviously, the money to have been made was down here. I would not be buying Baba today at 129. I'm sorry. You missed it. You have to wait for a different setup. That's my opinion. If you're going to short it, that's a whole nother thing. But Baba, we made. I remember even buying the dip in here. What a great move. Hopefully some of you guys caught it. Can I look at Toast? Sure. This Toast looks pretty good. Toast, obviously, every restaurant uses that technology. Unfortunately, it's kind of programmed to the small caps, but I think Toast looks pretty good. Not great. It's a little sloppy. It's more of an option trade. I would think, it stays above this 44. Oh, I bought options last week. Oh, I fully forgot about that. But yeah, it looks pretty good. It's kind of working, and I have options. I guess, does it have numbers this week? February 19th. Okay. What else? You want me to look at CSAI? These names all got hit. That's cloud whatever. I don't know. It's too new for me. Blair, wasn't you on Grab? Come on, you could take some credit. What else? Someone asked me, what about Mr. Listen, Bitcoin has been very lethargic. Bitcoin has been consolidating. Mr. has not been great. It poked its head above this little range here. It's down a little bit with Bitcoin. I'm long a little Mr. I haven't been long Mr. in a little while. So I'm going to probably try and add a little bit of Mr. versus level here to see if it continues. Very, very carefully. Like Mr. is a tough name. When you're right, you get paid, but when you're wrong, it hurts. And right now, Mr. is down a little bit, not a lot. It's down $3. That's because IBIT is down $1. Crypto has not been great. So at this point, if you go to Bitcoin, what does Bitcoin need to hold? I'll show you right now. What does Bitcoin need to hold? Bitcoin, I haven't really been so active here. I've been looking at IBIT. Bitcoin, he could probably... You would hope if you're active in Bitcoin that it holds. What's this? This is 94,000. You would hope it holds 94,000. Bernstein put out a note this morning talking about Bitcoin, saying how, they still think there's a whole nother move coming. But if you're active and you trade for a living, it hasn't been great. But again, remember this channel here in Bitcoin. What did this channel do? Remember the first move that it had to consolidate for a long time. We were in this range for a while before the turkey trot started. Remember the turkey trot that I had in there with the Tommy the turkey running? I said, let's buy Bitcoin at 61,000 before everyone's talking about it Thanksgiving. And I said, it'll go to 85,000. And it went to 108. Well, at this point, it's just kind of in no man's land. I am long a little bit of IBIT. If Bitcoin breaks 94, it likes to do that, though. It likes to break it and come back, break it and come back. As at this point, it's just not doing anything great. Here's your 108,000, and it just needs to just continue to put this range intact until there's enough people taking money off the table that have made a lot of money in Bitcoin before it can go again. You want me to look at Oklo? Oklo was a big move. If you remember, I had Oklo early, really early. I had it down here at 10.30, but I also had Palantir at $11. Some people changed their lives with this stock. For me, it was just a great trade. We were in it from 10.30 to 28, and then if you remember, went sideways for a while. Then it took out 26, 28. I'd be careful up here. This technology is really far off. It was a great trade. A lot of shorts got squeezed. What's it doing this morning? It's down $1. I would just be more careful here. I would not be big. This whole group, Oklo, NNE, SMR, they were a great trade. I was with them for a while. At this point, I feel like they're kind of, a little bit of an accident waiting to happen. So they might continue. I would just say up here, doesn't really intrigue me. I'm not playing SMCI. CCJ has been not good. CCJ changed. This looks like it's heading lower. CCJ, if you remember, had a really big move, and this to me is not special whatsoever. Breaking to the downside, you have a pro gap here that never got filled, and it looks bearish to me. This doesn't look, even though over time it feels like uranium should be a play, but for now, it looks bearish to me. ACHR, I'm long ACHR. This to me looks like it can continue. This is one of the drone plays, and so far so good. So if you're in this, it looks like it could be on its way back towards 1247. Again, not all of these kind of super growth / futuristic type plays are great, but this one looks like it's rebuilding and it can go. So I am in that. TEM, when I buy it now, I think you missed it. I was charting this thing since here. A lot of guys in the Alpha team bought it at 71.25 when it took out 77. I would not. I have a day count rule. So my process is you're buying day one here, maybe adding day two, and you'd be piecing out of it. I don't think you could buy it now. Doesn't mean it's a short, but I think you missed it. You have to have much better entries and exits. This one, when it took this spot out, it's been riding the 8 days, extended from it. I would not be adding to that here, but that's me. How about Grab? I like Grab a lot. Grab, I'm going to have to trim some and hold some, but Grab to me, if, obviously, it might not be a $30 stock. Everyone's saying this could be a $30 stock. I'm not so sure, but why can't it be $7.50? Go to the weekly chart. It looks pretty good, pretty solid here. It looks like there's a whole void here that could take this thing back towards $10. So I would trim some and hold some. And if you're not in it, maybe, add it strategically. Tesla, I made some decent money. Let's go to the daily chart. Last week, targeting it. It's very broken. It's, I don't know, it has some room to 373 to 375 if it wants it. Unfortunately, Elon has been a little nutty and he's pissing a lot of people off. Maybe people aren't buying Teslas in Europe and China. That's why some of those numbers are down. And ultimately, it's got to make some sales. I know it's future. I know it's, I think there was some news in China that their FSD is getting put off a little bit. Where's Tesla this morning? I think it's up a little bit. It's up 335 at 359. The high from last week was 362. So it's kind of no man's land. If it could do another inside day, hey, maybe it takes out 362 and sees 373 for a trade. But again, this isn't the Tesla like it had pre and post election. That was awesome. Momentum, higher highs, higher lows. You could buy it up, you could trim some, and then it changed on this red dog reversal, lower high, and then really just right this start to get a little predatory. So Tesla right now, to me, is just a range trade based on the setup. It's not acting special. Snow is interesting. Snow, it's a little hard, right? To be honest, if it looked like it was going to break out and then came in, there's a big gap above. I know some guys out there are saying how this, is an AI story, not really a software story. It's up a bit. I think if you're long it already, you could have your stop at 178. If you think it's going to trade into this gap, it's got to get above 193. Gets above 193, there's a lot of room. Just know it came a long way. This is 193. Gets above 193. There's a big gap here. What's Snow doing now? Snow is up 475. It's right around there. Yeah, looks good. Snow, hopefully you were long versus this gap here. You had a big push, came in. If you didn't buy it here, you bought versus that gap, and now you're just managing it above the 821 day. So you can't be so upset about that. Shop is trending really well. Shop is doing better than Amazon right now, but same kind of thing. You had a gap up, gave you 99. So sometimes it's hard to buy it versus that level. Some people got stopped out when it came in the gap, but when it pulled in and you said, hey, now I could buy versus the gap, it's been trending ever since. So there are ways to enter names and then massage them. There are ways to, stick with them. There are ways you don't want to chase names when, they're ready for a little bit of a micro pullback. And if you have too many shares, you're not going to stick with. At this point, this has been great. It's been a great trade. And hopefully you made some good money there. Reddit might need some time. Reddit was a great trade. It was part of my three amigos of PLTR, Dash, and Reddit. You do have 192.57 to trade against. I think this needs time. Reddit needs time. It kind of like the numbers weren't fantastic to support the huge move that it's already seen. So I would just say you have to be a little bit more careful here. And just so when I said Dash and Uber in a little bit of a fight, I get it. So I listen. I think Dash hit a high of 214. I've been talking about Dash with you guys since below 127. If you're in it, I would definitely be trimming today. I wouldn't be adding Dash today. Definitely, 3-day move. You should have been buying versus 195, adding above 201, and then you got paid. Qs look good. Intel I'm not touching, and listen, guys, it's 654, and wow, I'm already above my limit here. Listen, hopefully you guys are getting your process underway strong. Hopefully you're getting your mind right. Every day you got to approach the day with multiple plans. I have my new 20-5-20. There are guys that are doing a nice little exercise format with me in the morning. I do 20 minutes in the sauna. Some of them are on a mat or on a towel. We have weights. We talk about what's going on overseas. What are the futures doing? If this, then that. Feeling good when your endorphins are going, and then we run right into here. And now, 6:55, I'm going to go with the alpha team and spend the whole day massaging positions, putting new trades on, and trying to make a living. So these days are long. What part of the day do you want to spend with the red dog or the alpha team? It's up to you. Use your resources. If you just tune in here, that's cool too. But it's up to you to, if you're not having the results that you want, you got to make changes in order to make movement and progress. You have to figure out why you've been stuck in the mud. So get those feet moving, my dogs. I appreciate you. Happy Tuesday.